is around what's your personal brand. And I make this up, no, really, how is it, right, is because it's absolutely important. So your brand, your reputation, and you being known as that A-Play employee is absolutely important. Again, that's how you're going to be that subject matter expert in someone's Rolodex, right? So as an exercise, right, which is always quite interesting, and I know people have done it, surprisingly a lot haven't. Just Google it yourself, right? See what comes up and what have you. I'll talk about, people ask me about social media, so Facebook, Twitter and those sorts of things as well. How many people think a potential employer will look at their Facebook profile? A few, probably half. Yep, you betcha. Right. Is it right? Don't know. What would you do? It's public. It's out in the public, right? You have a digital footprint these days. So you might think that you're being smart and you know, you can do blah, 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 which is maybe not what you want to do in the heat of a moment, and so your emotional intelligence is not in check. Be careful, because it could potentially come back and bite you on the butt. And it does, and it has done. Right? So have a look at all of that, and then again, a lot of the stuff that I'm talking about here, guys, obviously I'm not going to take up a lot of time. I'm trying to keep it short and sharp for you. Is do some research basically on your personal brand and get those basics done well. Video's getting huge. Right? There was an article last Monday, I think it was, in the Sunday Times that talked about graduates and young people doing videos and doing video application letters and resumes and those sorts of things as well. Has anyone seen anyone do it? Anyone know of anyone that's done a video application or anything like that? Anyone think it could be of value? Yeah.
It's definitely of value in international recruitment.
Bingo, absolutely. Why? Because you can put together a great, awesome, application letter and resume, but it doesn't sell you and who you are, right? It doesn't talk about and allow you to enhance the experience that you've had on a project, because you're not going to have a lot of work experience, as it were, but you're going to have a lot of project experience or other stuff, right? Where you've been had to solve this problem or do this or whatever. Let someone be able to click on a link and actually see a nice 60 to 90 second or 2 minute or whatever piece about you. It forces you as well to put together a bit of a storyboard, and you're away, right? The other little benefit that you get from it is you get to see how good, bad or ugly you speak and how you conduct yourself in beautiful high definition. And guess what? Everyone's got a smartphone, right? So do it with your mate, role reverse and what have you too, which also comes back to, on another slide about interviewing, right? And I'll talk to you about that and why it's also a good thing to do that too. So have a think about it. Video is something to do too, right? Your resume. I could talk for hours on resumes and good and bad and ugly and what have you too, right? It's pretty simple, right? There's plenty of books on it. Have a good go at it. If you're not confident or don't think you're going to do it, people object to me saying this, but pay for someone to give you some advice on your CV and how to write it, but you need to write it, right? Because it's very easy to spot a CV where someone's actually written it for you. Don't. Get the advice, because obviously, don't be banging your head against a wall. If you've got a resume you've been sending out for jobs and it's not resonating, it's not getting interviews, then just stop. Do some research, try and tweak or whatever. Pay $100 or a couple $100 for someone to give you some advice and some ideas and spit and polish it, but it's yours. It's your marketing document that talks about you. You need to be able to go into an interview and talk through every single aspect of your interview properly and confidently. For us, we have an acronym in good eyes we always do in IT. What can we see in this candidate, right? Or what can we seize in the candidate? So the first thing that we look at is someone's successes and achievements, right? Not someone's tenure, right? So it doesn't matter if you're a graduate or you've got 10 years experience, we look at the successes and what you've delivered and what you've achieved. Then we have a look at the experience and make sure that if it is 5 years or 10 years, it's not the first year repeated, X period of time. Education is important, and the maintenance of that education, right? And there's plenty of ways that you can do that now with online courses, lynda.com, going to events, you name it, there's heaps and heaps of ways. And finally, skills, right? So relating back to my point that I'm talking to you about before is understand what's coming down the pipe in the future and make sure you're developing your skills in preparation for that. So if you're a developer and you know some of the hot topics, sorry, question?
I'll let you finish.
Yeah.
And I'll just ask.
Yeah, sure, no worries. So if you're a developer, for example, and you're still coding in some old technology and what have you too, that's your fault, right? You know, and you can see through the various forums and other bits and pieces of what technology and things are coming down the pipe. Be prepared for it. I'll just finish off this final point. People ask me a lot about LinkedIn. I've put smart on there socially because it is amazing how people are not smart from a social media perspective, right? For you guys as a tool, I love it and I hate LinkedIn at the same time for various reasons. But as a tool set, it's really important you get it right. And there's a heap of information on what you can do to get your LinkedIn profile. So don't do things like, have a selfie as your LinkedIn corporate photo. It's a professional networking site. And if it's done properly with the right information, you can attach your CV in it. Don't have a basic profile, actually pay the subscription if you can afford it. So that way you can attach your resume, put some other keywords, do some other smart things. Because unfortunately for some recruiters and employers, that's what they use. All right. Try and get your network up to ideally kind of 150 to 250 type people at a start, and then kind of build it out from there. All right. And then the other one is, everyone's probably heard of Seek, correct? All right. It's really important. Seek have I think got 11 or 17 data scientists, right? So data scientist wasn't much of wasn't an occupation of sorts. It's always been around, but it's only been around from an ICT perspective in the last 2 or 3 years. I think Seek's got 11 or 17 or something at the moment. So they're doing all that predictive analytics and algorithms. In order for you to apply for a job on Seek, you need to upload your CV. Please make sure your CV is absolutely fantastic. It's got all the right descriptions, got some good keywords and technologies and other bits and pieces, and a good description of your projects. Why? Because Seek is going to be starting to sell that already out to employers and recruiters, right? So that'll be another way that they'll find you. And then in the next 4 months, a website called Indeed will be going down the same path as well. So they're going to be giving LinkedIn a bit of a run for its money.